So Eric, I do have a presentation, but I didn't want to necessarily break that out because I wanted to make sure I was being, I guess, reactive enough to where your agents are at and where your agency is at. The advanced market group has been here since the beginning. So in 2000, technically it was December of 2013 when Family First Life started. 2014 being our first year, things were a lot different. I kind of look at this like generations, right? You know, Subaru comes out with different generations of cars. You know, here's the new generation Subaru, and here's the next generation, the old generation. Well, we had generations of agents and agency managers. And I think if you look at the old school generation, the Sean Mike, the Matt Smith, the Paul McLeans, the Andrew Taylors, myself, Mark Mead, I mean, the list goes on and on, Mike Kilvett, we were in a position that probably every agent is in. And what I mean by that is we didn't have the luxury of not writing business. We had to write business. So we're starting this IMO, and we are having to write business from day one, partially to pay for a very expensive lawsuit that we're going through, partially to pay for leads, partially to pay for the development of a CRM. I mean, everything was brand new. So a microcosm of that is where every agent is at some point. Eric, your agency has progressed and grown, and I recognize a few people on here. We're all at various stages, but we have to go out, and if we're at the very beginning stages of being an agent, we have to go out and make money. So we make money using our license. Our license is a life insurance license. Now, you can include life and health. Health allows you to do some of the ancillary products like accidental and health, DI, things of that nature. But our license allows us to do two main things: protect people's human capital, which is offsetting what they can do, learn, and earn if they die. There is a tax-free death benefit. But it's also protecting people's financial capital. And that's the part that I think we do the least, and we do it probably purely, we neglect to do it purely out of intimidation. We are intimidated to go and ask people about their financial health and protecting their financial capital because we kind of think that's reserved for financial planners. Now, I am a securities agent. I own my own RIA. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I have multiple certifications. I don't say that to brag. There is nothing to brag about. I say that because when I talk to you all about what we're doing, I want you to have confidence. And so I'm going to teach you today what questions you need to ask to access these advanced market products, and then what to say so you stay in your lane. Eric, to me, what always has stressed me out is when I can't hang in a conversation, right? Now, that conversation, like I have a friend who's an orthopedic surgeon, and my God, I mean, he talks about stuff that I don't really understand. Now, one-on-one, we're fine because we're buddies, but you get a group of orthopedic surgeons together, you're going to sit like a mouse in the corner, and you'll be like, I don't get any of this, right? Because I'm not an orthopedic surgeon. I think that's how we feel sometimes when we talk about finances. And I can teach you where your role is and feel very comfortable in having this conversation, okay? But first, let's back up a little bit. Our goal as agents, now some of you are agents. You're just, you know, I see some people I recognize, you're just like I was. You're trying to put money on into the bank account. You're trying to feed your family, literally. Okay, and then there's other agents. I see Ron, I see Neil, I see people who are actually starting to build agencies, right? You're getting a little bit bigger now. Well, you're doing the same thing, but the way you make money now is a proliferation of how you made money. And so I want you to understand this word attractive. What makes your agency attractive? See, so Gen 1, and I apologize for jumping around. Hopefully I'm making sense. Eric, just keep me on track if you feel like I'm moving off. Gen 1 was these people who, we were different. There wasn't as much saturation in the market as there is today. I did a lot of mail-out leads. I wrote Transamerica almost exclusively for final expense, and then America came into play, and I did mortgage protection, final expense, and I could go on road trips. And I wasn't combating a ton of agents in this field, but I still had to work. We have less products, less leads, but less agents, all right? Gen 2, I think Gen 2 kind of got a little bit, they just had it different. I feel like the leads, the lead spectrum, it became much bigger. right? We started introducing internet leads, and remember social media leads were really hot for a while there, and Facebook had to change some things. They got in a little bit of trouble. But then it was like, okay, we have so many lead outlets that it raised the bar. And also interest rates were very low, so lots of home refinancing, lots of data out there, and it raised that bar. So Gen 2 agents and agency managers, and some of them becoming integrity partners, they relied heavily on the leads. Well, I feel like this Gen 3 is going to have to, things always go in cycles. I think we have to be a little smarter, because there is a little bit of saturation. There's a lot of agents out there. There's a lot of leads. I'm just telling you how it is, right? So how do you separate yourself from the other agents? And how do you separate your agency from the other agencies? How do you make yourself attractive? And I firmly believe, and I know this to be true, that the cornerstone of what we do is mortgage protection, final expense, internet life, simplified issue. You've got to do that, right? I come from a brokerage background. It is not uncommon for, and Eric, you have some exposure to this, it is not uncommon for a fully underwritten deal to take 2 or 3 months, right? I mean, my goodness, good luck feeding your family with that. So I love what we do. We work with smaller policies, we work in a simplified issue, and it works really well. But the solution of just grab another lead source and just keep going, that's not always the best solution in this Gen 3 type iteration, right? Be smarter. Use all of your licenses. Your license that you have allows you to write life insurance and protect people's human capital. By all means, do it. But by learning how to ask questions, you can unlock the advanced market quadrants, and you can protect people's financial capital with fixed index annuities, and you can create financial capital with IULs. So let me deviate to that real quick. When we get a lead, when we get a person, a human being, do not treat that human being who is a final expense lead as a final expense product. I always use the conveyor belt. First and foremost, we have a funnel. I've known some pretty good salespeople, right? The Mark Meads, the Matt Smiths, and again, mine are older references. No one has a completely cylindrical funnel. Every lead that they bought does not turn into a sale. Never seen that before. No lead source is that good, no agent's that good, no client's that good. It's tapered. It's a funnel. So you throw leads in, and then does every lead answer the phone? No. Does every phone call turn into an appointment? No. Does every appointment turn into a sit? No. Does every sit turn into a sale? No. It's a tapering effect. And the better you are, the wider your funnel, and the worse you are, the more constricted it is. So I always thought of that funnel as a good analogy. Now, what happens at the bottom of that funnel? We're throwing the leads in, and trust me, leads are better than calling 200 of your friends. Okay? That model is finite, and it burns out quickly, and it also does not cater to the younger generation. My oldest son is 17, I've got 4 kids. It would be bizarre if he started calling his friends. Now, I know he's not old enough to even be licensed, but take that generation, everybody 17 to 27, that is the future of it. Now, I see some young people on here, right? You would confuse the hell out of people. You start calling them if they ask one insurance. So that's why Family First Life is good, is because we're using other means to get in front of people. But I'm a believer in the lead system, so understand that leads are necessary. But I also know that this funneling effect creates a return that is not one-to-one. So what I can do is I can throw more leads in, which is fine. You have to do that to a certain extent. I can also get better at my job, which increases the funnel. But at the bottom here, that's that conveyor belt. That's my processing. If I buy a final expense lead and I process them all the way through and I sell them final expense, that's one conveyor belt. It drops off. There's my money. Okay? Now, if I treat that person only as a final expense sale, I have to rely on another lead, another funneling, and another sale. Wouldn't it make sense, just like more leads, just like widening your funnel, wouldn't it make more sense to add additional conveyors onto that belt? Don't treat a final expense person as only a final expense lead. They're a human being. They have human capital. They have financial capital to a certain extent. So what we need to do is we're looking at protecting them with all of our license. And we do that by asking the golden question. So, Eric, if I'm sitting down with you, I don't care if you're mortgage protection, final expense, general life insurance, internet lead, whatever it is, you're going to ask, do you have anything that acts like insurance? Now, I want to pause real quick. Again, that confidence question comes in. You have to have confidence when you ask that question. I countless times have had agents tell me, well, what do you say when they say they're not comfortable with that? I say, you're not comfortable with it. Now, here's what I mean. Eric, we ask them their age. We ask them their health, medications, income. How long have you lived here? How many kids do you have? Think of how personal those questions are. We ask those questions, and we figure it's part of our job. Well, I'm here telling you, part of your job is also to ask them if they have anything that acts like insurance. And when I say that, I'm asking, do you have a 401k, an IRA, something to self-insure yourself, right? Think of it as a compliment. If I asked Lupe, I said, Lupe, do you have any rental properties? Right? That's not offensive. That's a compliment. Rental properties are sexy. Everybody wants to be a real estate mogul, right? So what's wrong with asking Lupe if he has anything that acts like insurance? Like, Lupe, can you self-insure? Do you have a 401k and IRA? And either answer is good. Either answer is good because if they say, yes, I do, that is an annuity opportunity. They have financial capital that we can protect. If they say, no, I don't, I say, yeah, I get it. Pensions have all but disappeared, and many people aren't able to participate in a 401k or 403b, or they had to use the money for something else, right? We don't beat up on them. We just say it is what it is. But that's an IUL opportunity. It's really that simple. So, Eric, do you have, what's your height? What's your weight? What's your medications? What's your income? How much have you mortgaged on this house, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Do you have anything currently, any insurance in place, Eric? A term, whole life, right? These are the questions I'm asking. And then I ask the golden question. Do you have anything that acts like insurance, like an annuity, a 401k, something to self-insure? He's going to say yes, or he's going to say no. If he says yes, okay, then I ask him this follow-up question. Eric, is that money protected? Is that money protected? And he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about, right? And they'll always say that. What are you talking about? I don't get it. My license allows me to not only protect human capital with life insurance, but financial capital. We use something called an FIA. I don't have time today. I got to move on to my next appointment, whether we're on Zoom, whether we're in person, whatever it is. But I will meet you again next week, and I will show you how our company specializes in protecting people's financial capital. Okay, and I'll leave it right there. I didn't talk to him about interest rate, rates of return, which carrier, which product. I didn't do anything. This could be my first FIA sale ever, and I don't need to know anything. All I need to know is that they do have something that acts like insurance, and it's not protected. And that's what I specialize in. Now, what if they said, no, right? Eric, I asked you, do you have anything that acts like insurance? Are you self-insured to any extent? And you say, no, man, we spent some of the money we had in the 401k on finishing up the house, put some money towards the kids' college. We really don't have anything left. Absolutely fine. Totally get it. So many Americans are in that exact same position, Eric. Have you considered an IUL to supplement your retirement? Boom. Everyone here on this call is licensed to sell the IUL. Everyone here on this call is licensed to sell an FIA. That's it. And then do I open up the laptop? Do I get out the illustrations and start talking? No problem. I'll see you, Richard. I'll see you next week, same time. Okay? Now, in the meantime, you're going to log into the ILC or the CRM, whichever version you have, and there's a link that says Ask a Specialist. You're going to click on that, and it asks you the questions. You answer what you can. Some of them you don't have the answer to. Don't worry about it, and you submit it. We're going to send you back the carrier, the product, the illustrations, the description of what you're doing, a couple videos that you can pause, rewind, get good at doing. And then you can go out and you can be absolutely terrible. You can go ahead and fall flat on your face and not sell that annuity or not sell that IUL. But then you do it a second time, and you're going to be like 50% better. And then you do it a third time, and oh my God, be careful. You might actually sell it, right? And my point is this. My point is you have the license. You have the person sitting right in front of you. You're asking them bold questions anyways, whether you know it or not. Ask these questions, set the other appointment, and next thing you know, you are going to learn how to do this, and you're going to gain confidence. Now, two things. One, it's numbers. Only go for the low-hanging fruit, right? Ron, if I was talking to you and I started saying, hey, do you have anything that acts like insurance? And you said, yeah, I got a 401k. My wife's got a 403b. I said, okay, Is that money protected? And let's say maybe you and I just weren't having very good rapport. Right? You know, maybe you're very alpha. Maybe I was hitting on your wife. I don't know what it was, but we just didn't hit it off. Okay? I'm being funny, by the way. All right? And so you say something to the effect of, you know, I got a financial advisor, or my sister takes care of that. You know what I need to do? Move on. Move on, right? That's the number one rule. Don't get married to any of these deals. This is not our primary objective. Our objective is to help people as many as we can. And then if they say something to the effect of, I don't even know what you mean, but I'm interested, let's go ahead and schedule a meeting, then we do it. But we go after the low-hanging fruit. And then the second thing is this: stick to what it does. Now, write these three things down and you'll never go astray. Okay, this comes from a financial planner. This comes from a CFP. This comes from a chartered financial consultant. This comes from someone who you're in competition with, quote unquote, but you're not. All right, that's what I'm trying to get to you. Have confidence in this. We protect people's money. We protect their retirement with an FIA. The FIA does three things. Memorize these. These are our elevator pitch. Okay. Number one, we eliminate all loss. You'll never have market loss again. Number two, we participate in the market gains. Eric, we don't beat the market gains. We don't even get all the gains, but we participate in them. Now, why is that attractive? Because alternatively, if you want a guaranteed safe product, you're going to choose a CD, a treasury bond, or maybe a corporate bond, a really high-rated investment-grade corporate bond. CDs pay zero, like almost literally zero. I'm not being facetious. Treasury bonds are like 2.1%, and corporate bonds are maybe slightly better than that, 2.75, 3%. You can't retire when inflation year to year is at 7.5%, and you have a 2% return. FIAs statistically are the highest yielding potential safe money product out there. Okay? So number one, you will sleep well at night because you will never, ever participate in market loss again. What a blessing is that? Yeah, but it comes at a cost, right? It does. But that cost is not that high with the FIA because you participate in market gains. If the market goes up 20% and you got 10 of it, you're going to be pretty happy. If the market goes up 20%, you got a CD, you get 0.25%. Doesn't matter what the market does. If the market goes down and you got a CD, you get 0.25%. If the market goes down, you got an FIA, you don't lose anything. And then the third thing is this. Since it is annuity, and it's not your granddaddy's annuity, right? This is not what you think, right? And clients will always think annuity is something bad. No. This is not your granddaddy's annuity. But it is an annuity, and so it allows you to create a guaranteed paycheck for life for you, your spouse, or however you want to divide it up. Only annuities can do that. Memorize those three things. Never have a loss, participate in the upside gains, and turn on lifetime income. You can handle any conversation. You can handle any client, right? Let's see, who's this? Jerry, is it Jerry Ruffino? I could tell he was Italian just looking at him. Jerry, so Jerry says, yeah, what am I going to get? I don't know, Jerry, because I don't know what the market's going to do. But if the market goes up, you participate in that. And if the market goes down, you lose nothing. I'd be happy to come back next week and show you some illustrations, show you what the last 10 years have looked like, pick the right carry, right product. I don't have time right now. We have a department that specializes in this. It's a very regulated industry. So I'll meet you next Thursday. Sound good? Right? Well, yeah, but will it beat my IRA? People will say the stupidest shit. They don't even know what they're talking about. Will it beat this? Jerry, here's what it does. It eliminates all market loss, so you're going to sleep well at night, right? It's going to allow you to participate in market gains, so you're going to outperform other safe products. And three, since it is an annuity, you're going to be able to turn on a paycheck for life if that's what you choose. Create your own pension if that's what you choose. So any question he asks, I just repeat those three things. Do you see how you have so much confidence in that? And then I promise you, you talk to 10 people, you'll screw up 3 of them. 3 of them won't like you, right? But those middle people, you're going to get a shot with them. And where we get stressed, trust me, I was so desperate. We got to pay the attorneys. We got to this. I got to feed my family. I mean, the whole story, the idea that like literally having like $12, $13, and they're deciding how much bread can we buy and how much gas. Like, I get it. I don't think everybody here is in that position, but there's someone here who is. There's someone here who is maybe slightly better or was in that position not long ago. I get it. You want to make the sale. What I'm telling you is memorize those three things, ask the question every single time, and the right people will come to the forefront. And it will be the most positive and friendly experiences you've ever had. And now you find yourself succeeding in a market, right? In an industry that was totally foreign to you just 1 week ago, just 1 year ago. And what does that mean to your bottom line? Let's do some math, okay? Let's say you closed one FIA a quarter, okay? A quarter. Let's say it was $200,000. I'm back math, so I got to use easy numbers. And let's say the average commission is around 6%. That's $12,000 a quarter. Well, how many quarters are in a year? 4. Okay, that's why I call them quarters, right? So 4 times 12 is $48,000. Would $48,000 help you if you're a brand new agent? Hell yeah, it would. IULs are a little bit more common because when we ask the golden question, you have anything that acts like insurance. If I asked everybody here, the majority, 51% or higher, are going to say no. The majority of people who fill out our lead requests are not independently wealthy, right? They're 62 years old taking out a 30-year-old mortgage doing the math. Like, I'm probably not going to pay this thing off, so I got to get some help, all right? So the IULs, one a month. Average IUL commission, probably $2 or $3 grand, okay? So now what would that help if you had $36,000? So you see how the advanced markets, without embellishing, without, putting up these ridiculous numbers, is $100,000 just sitting on the sideline? Now, let's say you're a young agency, 20 writers, 15 writers, maybe, somewhere hovering around there. You teach your agents to ask this golden question, and most importantly, you keep score. You start asking them every single week, how many Ask a Specialist did you submit? That's how we keep score. Because if you're sitting in front of people, if you're writing life insurance, you can tell if they're asking the golden question because they will have submitted to the Ask a Specialist, whether it's annuity or IUL. But let's say they do $1 million of advanced markets and you average 1% on annuities or 10% in IUL. That's $10,000 of extra money to your business. Would that help you with staff? Would that help you with roll-up debt? Would that help you pay yourself, right? Absolutely. And then let's look at the maturity of that. Let's look at a large agency, right? Eric goes to close his integrity deal. Let's say he's doing $25,000 a month. Well, what's 25,000 times 12, right? $300,000. If you get a 7x multiple, what's that? That's $2.1 million. To get that extra $2.1 million, Eric, did you have to hire special agents? Did they have to get a special license? Did they call these exclusive special leads? No. They simply asked the question. It's the purest sense of profitability. By just slowing down and asking that question and ignoring the ones that aren't interested. Don't flog a dead horse. Don't force something that's not going to happen. Just help those that want to be helped. Because our goals, all those numbers are based off of one annuity a quarter for an agent and one IUL a month. And hey, some of you are really going to accelerate and find that you like it and you get it and you're good at it. Some of you are going to stumble and maybe only close a few a year. Dominic Rogers has one of the best trainings I've ever seen where he talks about if it wasn't for annuities, he wouldn't have made it in the business. And I think his biggest year, he did 3 of them. But he never ignored them, right? And that's what's important. Eric, I'm going to pause. I don't want to ramble too much. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully this isn't too scattered. Let me know if you have any questions or anything else I can clarify for you.
If any of you guys have questions, throw them in the chat box so we can have some kind of orderly process here. But I'll kick it off with one question because I know a lot of times people – so first of all, this is super helpful, I think, in terms of helping people get confident about, like, opening their mouth and talking about it. One of the questions people ask is, okay, well, what do I do next if they say yes? And I think you mentioned it. So there's the Ask a Specialist form is really what you guys recommend. And then how do you guys go about, because a lot of them are like, do I use WinFlex? How do I run these illustrations? I don't understand. So, like, can you just kind of walk through what your team actually will do and then how much you charge for that service?
Yeah, excellent questions. Ask a Specialist is the key, and here's why. So you train yourself, you force yourself to ask that question. Andrew Taylor had the best training because he and I were the same way. When I would call leads, I'd rather door knock. I felt more imposing. I felt more in control if I door knocked someone. On the phone, people would be really mean to me, and I have a very fragile ego, I think, so I would get really upset when people would be mean to me on the phone. I get emotional, right? Like when I used to drink, I'd like, I'm going to drink before I call. Andrew would also, he'd be excited if they didn't answer. Do you see what I'm saying? And I remember that feeling of like, I'm excited that they didn't answer. It's because we're not sure what's going to happen next. So I get that mindset. Train yourself, say, no matter what, I'm asking the golden question. And if you're like only looking for the person that's like, actually, that sounds like I'm kind of interested, then you're going to almost be surprised. So you just have to do this. Just book the appointment. Make it 1 week later, right? That's your job. You want to get 20 plus appointments every single week. This is just, now you only need 19. Now you only need 24, right? Whatever your goal is, just treat it as you call them for a new appointment. Do not make any promises. Don't make anything other than like, I'll see you next week, or this is something we do, or our company specializes in this. So you book it for the next week. You gave yourself plenty of time. The next thing you need to do is that night or the next morning when you're having coffee, whenever your office time or your admin time is, you log into the ILC and you click on the Ask a Specialist and you submit the scenario, okay? When we get back to you, and like I said earlier, we're going to have, sorry, I'm about to sneeze, we're going to have the illustrations, the product, everything picked out for you. Take the time to learn that as best you can. This is not, all right. The first one you go run, the amount of time you put into it to prepare and the expected result are going to be inverted. I promise you. You're not going to feel terribly comfortable. You're probably going to suck, okay? And you probably put an hour of preparation. But that hour is feeding yourself, is teaching yourself to fish, not just feeding yourself for that day. That hour, the next time you go and we send you a new illustration, is maybe 10 minutes, right? Be prepared to ask the golden question, even if you're uncomfortable. And then secondly, to fail at least 3 times. You would be shocked at how bad you aren't, okay? And so if we do that, we're going to be good to go. Now, what does our team do? Whether it's IULs or whether it's annuities, we are going to, like I said, take a specific look. Okay, let me back up a little bit. When you submit to Ask a Specialist, first and foremost, it's completely encrypted and it's backed up on the cloud. Okay, why is that important? You don't have the certification. If you're not a securities agent, right? I am. Bridget is. Lauren is. Will is. Nicole is, right? Our whole team is. So when we send it to you, we are truly sending something that we can stand behind. You have years of experience and tons of education making that recommendation. All you have to do is just go present it. We include a video or 2 videos on exactly how to present it. You can pause, rewind, and say, okay, I'm going to give it a shot, right? So when we send this over, we're giving you our expertise, our recommendations. The second thing is it's also backed up. So if anyone ever, like we've all seen this happen, right? I sell something, then their son-in-law is visiting from Tempe, Arizona, and they feel like they shouldn't have done this, or you need to re-explain it. We have all the documentation. We can send that to them. So you feel like you're backed up. This isn't you just independently deciding what to do with someone's retirement. That is kind of intimidating, right? An insurance policy can always be canceled. Once you move someone's retirement, you can't necessarily move it back. So having this to back you up is very, very important. Now, what do we charge for it? Nothing. Nothing. It's part of the service. It's what attracts agents to us. Keep that in mind. When you're hiring someone, ask them, what kind of business do you run? Final expense. I run this. I run X. I run Y. I run Z. Okay, how much are you accessing the advanced markets? Well, what do you mean? Well, I'm saying how much are you doing in annuity sales, IUL sales? If an agent says, well, I don't do a lot of them, say, great, we specialize in that. We have an entire department set up who helps you out, walks you down that path, and doesn't take a dime from you. They're a corporate entity. They're part of FFL that is set up to do that. So, Eric, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I knew the answer already, and it still was a good punchline. Nothing. We don't charge anything. It's amazing. So Jerry had a couple of questions, and I'll just run down these with you real quick. So number 1, can you explain why an IUL is better than a 429 plan? Number 1. Number 2, do we have another product that is close to the Mutual IUL Express product in case people don't want to use it? And then number 3.
Good questions.
And then number 3, can you help us understand the difference between an IUL and infinite banking, or can you use an IUL for infinite banking?
Great questions. So first, IUL versus, I assume you mean 529 plan, the cafeteria plan, not a 429? Yeah. So the answer is they're not. Okay. I have a video that I can't find, so I have to re-record it next Wednesday. Are you talking about children, Jerry? Are you talking about children's plans? Okay. So I asked, and this is a little bit of like a tangent, so I'll make it real quick. Jerry, you're the client. I'm you. All right? And they say that they want to write a. And Eric, were you at the awards ceremony in Florida at the Marlins Park when Mutual of Omaha was presenting the top writers for the year?
Yes.
And the person that wrote the most children's whole life wasn't there, and Shawn Mike was joking because they couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much truth in that joke. So keep in mind, if I'm telling you, under certain circumstances, I don't write insurance policies on children, keep in mind, I am probably taking a $12 commission out of your pocket. Okay? Like there's something to be said about that. But that being said, I asked these 3 questions. So, Jerry, you want, I think it's admirable. I grew up without a father, okay? I'm not role-playing. I'm saying I grew up without a father. So and my mom, what she gave me was debt. She did bankruptcy. She filed bankruptcy twice. Like she waited the 7 years, filed again, right? Like, but great financial upbringing. And so when I see someone like you who wants to do something for her kids, it literally makes me emotional. It makes me so, like, compelled to help you out. So first and foremost, congrats to you. Good, kudos, great job. Secondly, what are they using this for? What is your primary reason that you want to set up this account? Now, the reason I asked that first question is because if they say college, an IUL is not a good plan. It's not liquid early enough. It's a bad plan. And so I say, you know what? I'm not a securities agent. I mean, I am, but what I've been told is contact Vanguard and set up a 529. Because the tax ramifications, the liquidity, the options, it is literally designed for college plans. So how much will you think about putting in that plan, Jared? And he says $500 a month. You know, okay, here's what I'd be after, okay? Is the actual amount that you want to put in for college, that'd be a 529 plan. So I asked that question first. Second, I asked them this. How long, and so let's say they don't plan on the college. Let's just say college is one of the things. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm jumbled a little bit. If college is one of the things, then I ask them the second question, which is, how long do you want to pay for it? Okay? Well, I'd like to pay for it until they're 18 or 19 or 20. Again, an IUL is a bad idea. And the reason I say that is because if I'm 18 and I have an IUL that Dad paid for, and it's got $8,000 or $12,000 or $15,000 of cash, and now at 18 or 21, I'm given the choice of cashing it out or continuing to put in $100 a month. I mean, I might do it for 3 months, but it ain't long before I'm taking the money out, right? So just don't set him up to fail. So if he says, no, I am paying on this until I die, by all means, IUL is great. Now you extrapolate that 6-year-old kid when they're 36 and they're buying a house, or when they're 26 and they want to borrow against it to pay for their wedding, or they're 66 and they have a blessing that no one could ask for, such a cool blessing, and they're retiring tax-free because their father paid for it until they were 80, by all means, an IUL makes sense. But what I shift for is that third question. If you really want your kid to go to college, what we need to do is make sure that you're protected and that you're set up well. So I want to shift the IUL on you, Jerry. Let's put that budget towards you. Here's why. One, it is going to accumulate some cash. And did you know that when we fill out the government grants, the Pell grants, that you don't have to report cash inside an IUL? So it doesn't hurt your eligibility at all. Second, what if something tragically does happen to you? How are you going to pay for that college? A tax-free death benefit go a long way. Third, what if the kid says he doesn't want to go to college, or he doesn't want to take over these payments? This tool wasn't wasted money. It can go towards your retirement. You can use the cash for something, right? It can go for your death benefit to take care of the income gap when you die and your spouse is still alive, right? So really, I think we need to focus that budget on you, Jerry, if you're not protected. And so what I'm doing in that is I am covering off the 529 plan, and it's every negotiation, you got to have a throwaway. Now, I'm a fiduciary, so I'm going to do what's best for them. If I'm willing to go to a negotiation and they say, hey, I'd like to do something for my kids, and I know as agents we jump on that and we write the whole life, the children's whole life, the children's IULs, but stop for a second. You might throw that away, but what you're throwing away is like a $12 commission, and you're doing the right thing, because if they really want that kid to go to college, an IUL is not a good tool for it. And if they really only want to pay till they're 18 or 21, come on, really? You think the kid's going to take over $100 a month? No, he's not. So unless he falls into that category of, I will pay this until I die, okay, that's different, then we need to shift that and say what we really need to do is maybe call Vanguard and do a 5.9 plan for them, but we need to look at protecting you, because your kid's not going to college if something happens to you, and the money that we're saving up can help benefit that for the reasons that I mentioned. So I know I elaborated on that quite a bit, but I think that's important. I got a video coming out for it. Second question, do we have another product close to the new IULE? Yes and no. All right, IULE, 18 years old to 70 years old, true simplified issue, meaning you will never have blood and urine, and everybody table 4 and up is automatically approved. I mean, if they answer it correctly, and it pays pretty fast. When I say no, we don't have another simplified issue, but there's a gray area. What we do have is no lab. Okay, National Life Group, F&G, and F&G is a guaranteed no lab up to age 60. F&G and National Life Group is up to age 65. So if you don't want blood, urine, attending physician statement, because that's what slows us down, F&G and National Life Group. National Life Group's going to be stronger in the death benefit. F&G is going to be stronger in the tax-free accumulation and lifetime payout. So if they're 40 or younger, you're almost exclusively going to go F&G. If they're 45 and older, you're going to go NLG, right? The one advantage Moo has is they'll go down to $25,000 so they can be very affordable. So here's what I use. Here's my metric, okay? If I'm $200 or less of premium, I'm going to look at IUL Express. If I get over $200 a month, then I ask myself, am I solving for death benefit? Right? Is this someone that's over, say, 45 or 50? Or am I solving for cash, like tax-free cash, the Patrick Kelly type scenario? And that's usually someone 45 or younger. Well, if it's death benefit, it's NLG, National Life Group, and if it's cash, it's F&G, Fidelity and Guarantee. And in all three of those scenarios, I won't have to do labs, which is really what slows us up. Last question, infinite banking. I'm proud to announce that starting in 2 weeks, we hired a consultant to help and grow. We have all the contracts in place, but we will be offering infinite banking through Family First Life. Now, that being said, it's not something I want to do. It's a high-touch thing, but it is a very attractive thing for clients about getting out of debt, being their own bank, and it does work. As a financial advisor, I tried to poke holes in it. It's actually a pretty sound concept, and it's not for everyone, but it's a pretty sound concept. So pay attention the next couple weeks. And Eric is one of like my 7 Uber agencies, right? Like he will keep you informed. So this month we're focusing on IULs for small businesses. Next month you're going to see stuff laid out, and we will focus more on one specific advanced market thing at a time. But the infinite banking is something that we are now able to offer starting in about a week or 2.
Cool. And then we had another question pop up. How can an IUL help a person with long-term care if the need arises?
Excellent question. I have a presentation I did, which if you email me, email info, one of the best ways to generate leads and make sales is long-term care. Statistically, only 2 or 3% of Americans have long-term care, and most of those are fairly well-off or wealthy. The people who fill out our leads, the people who are on your database, the ones you've helped, if you pulled your carrier report from America or Mutual of Omaha, the 10, 20, 300, 500, 2,000 people that you helped, statistically, I would bet almost none of them have long-term care, and they need it. Problem is, it's too expensive, it's hard to get approved, et cetera, right? So they need some sort of alternative. It is one of the best ways, I call it a Trojan horse, right? How do we get in and make hay? It's arguably the best way you can do it. And that is either A, with an annuity, or B, with a life insurance policy. So getting back to this question, I have letters that you can send to your clients, emails that you can send. Just email us, and I'll send you the video and the letters, and you can create some of your own leads. But when you sit down with someone, when you're talking to someone, and you say, do you have anything that acts like insurance? That's a golden question. I actually teach another question about long-term care. So imagine posting on your Facebook, say, hey, do you have long-term care? Ping me if you don't. Well, most people aren't, and when they answer, they're not going to be eligible or it's going to be too expensive. So what we do is we look at long-term care alternatives. An IUL has living benefits that don't expire until you expire, right? If the IUL is correctly structured, it's going to last to 90, 100, or whatever, however long the person lives. Statistically, 70% of people need some form of long-term care, and half of that is provided by the family. So a long-term care annuity or a long-term care with living benefits riders, an IUL with living benefits riders allows you to access that death benefit. So if you, day one, had no money, but you bought a Mutual of Omaha Eichwell Express, day two, you have a stroke and you now need long-term care, you can access that $100,000, up to 85% of it. You just protected them against long-term care. Now, alternatively, we have two new products. One of them that I'm very fond of is a Global Atlantic annuity. So rather than using an IUL, we use an annuity, and it is a true long-term care. It has tax benefits and everything. It's a true long-term care product. So now, instead of taking the premium and spending it, they just shift, let's say, $50,000. I'm going to say, I just sold one. I still sell. I don't report it, but I still sell. If someone comes to me and says, hey, I need to satisfy this, I'm going to sell. And so I sold a $50,000 annuity with Global Atlantic called the 4-Care annuity. Day one, that annuity is 3X. So it gives them $150,000 of long-term care protection. And they can pay out to that, and it's tax-free because it's true long-term care as deemed by the IRS. So we have two solutions for them: living benefits with an IUL, and then the 4-Care annuity by Global Atlantic. You access Ask a Specialist inside your CRM, okay? If you need any help finding it, you can also go to our Advanced Markets website, which is right there, but you can also email us, info@FFLAMS, or Eric can show you how to get on the, there you go, look at that. Perfect, Ask a Specialist, that's the ILC, the Integrity Lead Center. Eric, do you know if everybody's using ILC now?
Yeah, our whole group has rolled over to. I believe the whole company has.
Okay, yeah, I thought so.
So how much of this do they need to fill out in order for? Because I think one of the things too is I've heard this. People, they go, okay, I'll fill this out when I get back to my house, and then they get back and they're like, oh shit, I don't know half of this stuff. So what do you suggest there for guys?
That's a great question. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because it's something that is important. Fill out as much as you can. As much as you can. We get requests where they only know the person's name, age, state, and maybe how much money they have. And that's all they know. That's enough. That's enough. We can make it work off of that.
Okay, great.
And also, a lot of them are drop downs or check boxes, so we try to make it as easy as possible. So do is whatever you can, and then in the additional comments, put in what you think. Like if you say, hey, this is my first one. We actually read that, and so a lot of times we'll proactively call you. So when we send it over, we're going to send the carrier, the product, the illustrations, a description, a couple of videos to watch, and then our phone number. And so you can call and follow up with us. Like we know that we got to handhold you for that first 1 or 2 appointments. Once you've done 1 or 2, though, you'd be surprised at how often we're using the exact same products and how often these things repeat themselves. It's not microbiology. It's not rocket science. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, Jerry says do it in the house. So after you get confident with it, I'm sure that's the better solution. Just pull it up in the house.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We probably wouldn't get it to you quite fast enough. So if you do decide to live there temporarily, that would work. Yeah, and I think that's a good expectation. We say 48 hours. We're usually 24, but that's why 1 week is a good time frame to get back to them.
That's great. I think that's the end of our questions, and this was super helpful. I mean, I took multiple pages of notes, and I could see people shaking their heads and whatnot. The people that did have their videos on. So this will be the first of many, guys. Like Sean said, I'm a huge fan, not just of AMS, but of anything that allows our agents to add more value to the clients at the kitchen table or over Zoom. That is the name of the game in terms of, we execute, Sean, you were talking about like knocking on doors. I mean, like, you do whatever you got to do to get in front of people, in the beginning. But then once you learn and master how to have these conversations, how to ask these questions, imagine the kind of referrals you get from people that when you do an IUL with them, when you do an annuity with them, when you help them with Medicare. Like, these are things that people need and want and are excited about. And it just, to me, like, I mean, and that's the fun part of being an agent, is having these relationships with people that you know you've helped, that are like smiling and happy and telling all their friends they got to meet you because, oh my goodness, what this guy did for my retirement's amazing. So I can't say how grateful we are. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you a ton, Eric. Appreciate everybody on here. I recognize quite a few of you, and it's good to talk to you. It's consistency. It's a desire to get better at what you do. Do not be satisfied only, Stephen Giordano, he's a very good friend, and we kind of joke around a little bit. He is one of the best salesmen, one of the hardest workers, one of the most sincere people, right? And he constantly says, "Guy, I got to do a better job in the annuities. Like, I'm getting burned out, right? I can't do $1,500 final expense policies. You sell 3, 1 cancels. You sell 2, 1 gets denied. Hey, that's making money. Don't get me wrong. That is the cornerstone of what we do. Just discipline yourself. Say to yourself, I am going to get better at asking the golden question. Accept the drubbing. Accept the embarrassment. Accept the humiliation. Now, I'm being extreme. It's really not that bad. But in our mind, it is, right? We get worried about this stuff, right? We don't want to be told no. We don't want to be embarrassed. Just do it. And who are you doing it for? Hey, maybe there's people on this call that are independently wealthy. They live off a trust fund. They got no real worries. I love you, okay? That wasn't me. I had to get education on this because I had to survive, right? I've told this story many times, but they did a survey of who was awarded Medal of Honors. And those that didn't die, if it wasn't posthumously awarded, right, those were actually alive upon receiving the Medal of Honor, they interviewed them. And they said, why did you do what you did? Why did you charge that pillbox or storm that trench? And it wasn't because they were ordered to. It wasn't because they didn't do it for their flag or for their God. They did it for the person next to them. They did it for the person in the trenches. So you're all here doing it for a reason. Is it your spouse? Is it your children? Are you taking care of someone at home? See, the buck stops here. If I didn't do it, I literally had no options. So I'm trying to tell you, get over being stupid with this stuff. Learn it, be prepared to stumble, and my God, in 90 days, think about what your future could look like, right? When you're adding another $100,000, and then you're more attractive because you're teaching agents how to do it, and you have confidence in it. It's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You got a great leader in Eric. Eric, I appreciate you a ton. Anytime you need me, you reach out to me. I'm here to help, and thank you so much.